you were just about to finish roles, and I actually asked a question, but my internet disconnected at the same time. And the question was, under roles on the right-hand side of 3 from the bottom right-hand corner, it said reservations, and it was enabled. And I was wondering, the system has built-in reservation platform?
It does have a built-in reservation platform. However, we need reservation licensing for it, and we would need to dedicate a station to be the reservation station, which is absolutely something that we can do. Were you looking to work with reservations?
I would like to see it because we're going to get a reservation system, and so if it's included, then yeah, it makes sense for us to do that. Otherwise, we can use an open source one, or OpenTable wants us to use theirs, but their cost is pretty high right now, and they're also taking a percentage of all your bookings now, which is pretty high.
Okay, that's something that we can discuss with Michael, because there would be a cost associated to it, because it would be an additional license that we would need. I don't have the cost on hand right now, but that's something that we can discuss further if you would like.
Yeah. So, and it's is it an online reservation system or just in-house?
In-house reservation, so it would be a call-in to reserve.
Okay. Okay. So, I don't know if we'll go with that, but okay, great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matthew, that is correct, buddy. So we're good.
That is correct. Perfect. Okay. So, Jamie, did you have any other further questions with roles here?
No.
Okay. So what I'm heading into now is I'm heading into our employee settings. So I'm going to go back to configuration here, and I'm going to click on employees. And inside of employees, on the left-hand side, we have a list of all of our current employees. And on the right-hand side is where we would set up the personal information for those employees.
Okay.
So the first option is our alias. Our alias would be the name that shows up on the check, on the guest check. The first name is our reporting first name and reporting last name. Okay, we have handedness as well. So if you are right-handed, our order screen would look the way it does as I showed you. However, if you are left-handed and you choose the left-handed option here, everything would flip. So our orders would now show up on the right-hand side, and we select our menu items from the left-hand side to make it a little bit easier for the reach of a left-handed person.
Okay.
Okay. The next option that we will be going to is security. So inside of security is where we would be able to decide what this person can do. So this test user is a server by role, and by default, all their options are selected here in blue. So if we have a blue dot, that means that they are by default from our system settings, not required for this. And if they have an X, a blue X, this means by default from our system settings, we're able to do this. So this is selected by default. Now, if we were to change this, as per Gina's question, per user, we would then just change this by clicking on that checkbox. Now, just this test user cannot occupy a table. Okay, if I select it again, you'll notice it's a black X. This means that I am overriding the default and selecting this. If I select it one more time, it turns back to a blue X, which means that it's pulling it again from the default and it is selected. Okay, and we can go through all of our operational, managerial, system, and screens and make changes per user if we would like to. Otherwise, it is pulling it directly from the default settings that we have set up in system settings. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Gina, did that help answer your question?
Oh, sorry, I muted myself. Thank you.
Okay. The next tab here is groups. We're not going to be using groups. This is for a corporate menu layout, so this is not something that we need to look at. The next option here is jobs. Inside of jobs, we're able to actually decide what this person can, like what their wage is inside of jobs. And as you mentioned, you will be using this for payroll, so this is something that we would need to set up for each employee. to make sure that they have the correct job associated to that. So right now our test user is using the bartender job, which is paying at $12.20 an hour with $18.30 as their overtime pay. Okay? Now we can change this per user again. So if a person is to make a different wage, we can adjust that right here per person. Otherwise, it would be pulling from the, if we hit inherit, right now it's going to be 0 because we don't have a price set inside of jobs. But otherwise, it'll be pulling from the jobs section, which we're going to jump into next. Okay? Okay, so this is how we would assign that job. Now, we can actually assign multiple jobs to a person. So let's say somebody is a bartender, but they're also a server. We can add our server job here. So now they have 2 jobs to choose from when they sign in. They'll be able to select which job they're going to be working today, depending on what their shift is. That way we can actually have their pays correct based on the job that they work per shift, okay? If there's a different wage to them. Okay. The next tab here is our miscellaneous tab. The miscellaneous tab is where we'll actually set up the passwords for people. So the manual password is the numerical password that you see me typing in. This has to be a minimum of 3 digits, and I think it can be up to 27 digits if you would like. This is strictly numerical. The next option is a magnetic or smart card. So the magnetic or smart card, with the kit that you guys purchased here, we have 20 user cards included. So you can assign a card to a user instead of a numerical password. Typically, I see this used for managers, so managers would use a card as opposed to a password. That way, none of the servers can actually access managerial tasks without that card. It's just a good way to avoid the spread of a manager's password around.
So you provide the cards, or these are just standard, like a Cantech card? Like what type of cards are these?
These are a magnetic swipe card, but they have a specific encoding on them, and that is included. You have 20 of them in the kit, I believe.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. So right here, it looks like we have 20.
No, I think that's important. I think that's important.
Yeah. So when we go to assign it, we would hit assign. At this screen, we would then swipe our card, and once we swipe our card, this will read out a card number to us, and we can just hit OK, and then that card is now assigned to this user.
Perfect.
Okay? And the last one is our administrative password. So the password that you've seen me type in, the longer one, for accessing system settings, employees, and jobs, this is where we would set that up. We would set that password up here, we would hit change, and we would type in a minimum of 8 characters with 1 capital letter and 1 number. Okay?
I'll call you back. I'm on training.
Okay. Now, we do have the option to set occupied tablecloth colors per user, as Gina was asking about earlier. Now, I would not suggest doing this. If we set a tablecloth color per user, it could get kind of confusing to have everybody have different colors on the floor plan. If that is something you want to go with, though, you absolutely can set that up here and change the occupied or printed tablecloth color. Otherwise, it's going to pull from the default color. Like I said, this is up to you if you want to set this. You can change the color per person just by clicking on the color and change it to whatever you want.
Cool.
I'm going to hit cancel for now, though. If that's something you want to do in the future, by all means, you can. Otherwise, I'm going to set it up so that only your tables show up in green, everybody else is in purple.
Cool, perfect.
Okay? And the last one here is notes. If you want to add any notes specifically for this person, the notes are contained only in this area and nowhere else. Anybody that has access to employees can access these notes as well. Okay? Okay.
Sorry, just before we continue, can you show me again? I mean, no offense, I would highly disagree. I would think it's much easier to have different employees in different colors on the map. I mean, OpenTable is a global platform, and that's what they do, and it works very effectively. When I
Yeah, absolutely. So under colors
Yeah.
here, we would be able to set colors for each person. So let's say right now, test,
Ashu, I'm in a
they
meeting
are
right now.
just pulling
I'm
from
in
the
a big
default
conference.
because there's a big X
But
to it.
just message me on Rocket Chat.
If
Message
I
me
want
on
to
Rocket
change that
Chat.
color, I would change my occupied tablecloth color. I would click on that,
Okay.
and I can change it to any color on the spectrum here.
Yeah.
And if I hit OK, that would be their new occupied tablecloth color. It would be purple. Every time test has a table, it's purple.
Sure. Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So I'm just gonna change that off for now. But if you guys want to set that up once we have employees in here, then you can change the colors for all of them if you would like. Okay. So I'm gonna OK out of employees now, and I'm gonna go into jobs. Inside of jobs is the last place that we're gonna need to have this administrative password. Now, inside of jobs, we have a few default jobs set up. If you want to add more jobs, you can. So let's say for front of house, we wanted to add another job. We can say new minor job. And this new minor job, let's say, we'll call it busser. Okay? And we can change the pay rate here to whatever we want it to be. So $13.50 is their pay rate. And then we can have an overtime pay rate. We can call it $18.75. Now that overtime pay rate doesn't kick in until after 44 hours in a pay period. Okay? And this is now going to be the default payment or wage for this job. So if somebody gets assigned the busser job, this is what they're going to get paid unless otherwise stated in the employee settings under the jobs tab. Okay? Now, when I added a new employee, I highlighted the major group that I wanted to add that, or when I added a new job, I highlighted the major job that I wanted to have that job under. So our major job is front of house and back of house right now. If we want to add another major job, you can just by hitting new major job, and it's going to give us a new header, essentially.
Yeah, got it.
Okay?
Thank you. Mm-hmm. That's great.
Okay. So I'm just gonna remove that major job there. I'm gonna OK out of that. So that was jobs there. The next one I'm gonna jump into is our floor plan setting. So in fact,
That's now illegal. And so now it's a manager, and as a manager, like I always, without exception, except for I think one time when the busboy smashed like 50 glasses by mistake, I kept that for breakage. But outside of that, I would always just kick back my 1% directly to the busboys and ensure that they're getting as much, because they're the hardest working guys in the whole business, and they actually get paid the least.
Mm-hmm.
No offense, Omar. Maybe you guys are the hardest working.
There you go.
Okay, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. I don't know how long it's going to last again. But...
okay. That's okay.
Okay, so this is recording at the break. I have a call in 3 minutes that I will have to take for about 10 minutes, but I will be back right after that.
Well,
Okay.
Okay, so the last part I was on was... oh, I gotta close the window. Oh.
Yeah, we were taking a look at the floor plan settings here.
Yeah.
So I just had a question for you guys. Do we want to show table busing at all? So we can show that on the floor plan.
I don't
so
think
that
we're big
after
enough
table.
right now.
Yeah, I think I don't.
Okay.
If we were 220 seats, like a side door restaurant or something, that'd be
Yeah.
great. And you don't know where to go and what
I just didn't know if we wanted to show on there or not. But that's okay.
Thank you for that suggestion.
All right. So
That's cool.
the next thing that I'm sorry.
That you even have, like when you have a really big place, you can mark tables that need to be bussed.
Well, after they are closed, it'll automatically say that it'll show up in a different color, saying like this table needs to be bussed, like it's still dirty, and then once it's clean, you can mark it as clean.
Actually, I think that we should have that, and just let me just give you the reason why, and then you guys can agree. With the COVID-19 thing, I think there's going to be new measures in place, and I think that I do agree with what you're saying, Scott, about like the that if you can't see it, you got a problem with it. But I'm thinking more from an analytic perspective, and from more of a reporting perspective, that shows that these tables were bussed, and then how long in between the time that we put like a chemical down and then the next person comes in. Because I think that there's going to be new rules in place where people come in, and when the person leaves, you have a standard of how that table is cleaned before someone else can sit down in it. And I think that should be almost in a reporting fashion where we can, if it ever came up, we could show reports that this table closed, it was then cleaned, and before the next person came, it's 10 minutes after, so the disinfectant can sit for 10 minutes, and which is what the chemical company was working with William on that, and it's 10 minutes after the table is clean is when it's actually clean and anything would be killed on it. So I'm not thinking about it from a busing perspective of like actually seeing it, but I'm thinking from a reporting perspective to show people that we're actually doing it. If it ever came up, we would have analytics to prove it. And would we?
So as of right now, we don't actually have a report on that. We don't have a report for when a table is bussed or not. But that could be something I could mention to the developers to see if that's something we could include.
I think it's going to be very important moving forward. I think that like with the COVID stuff, I think that's going to be very important to show some sort of cleaning, what you're doing with the place, how often you're cleaning the place, this type of thing. And I think it's going to be very popular that companies are going to have to put this in place.
Jamie, I think you actually bring up a really good point, and I'll tell you why, because there's actually accountability. Mm-hmm. And the reason why that's so important is if you go into, like, let's say a movie theater bathroom, okay, you see a checklist.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, something that's checked off. Now, they don't do that because they're trying to prove they're being clean. The reason why they do that is because of lawsuits. So there's actually like the judges will say, you can't be everywhere at once. You can't prevent everything, but you have to be doing a reasonable measure. So, for example, let's say there's a spill at table 101, okay, and there's water on the floor, and basically someone comes and slips and falls, they'll sue you, and you'll be accountable for it. However, if, like Jamie's saying, we have a clean system where it's marked that, oh, we actually cleaned that table, and we were marked it clean at 10 o'clock, and at 10:05, someone slipped and fell. Well, that's the most reasonable thing that we could do is have that area cleaned, and we've actually logged that electronically. And so you wouldn't be responsible legally for that slip and fall because you're showing that you guys are cleaning it every single time. So mm-hmm. There's you're making a huge case that I agree with completely, Jamie, for COVID and for just professional accountability.
So I would like to see that implemented, and I would like to have you talk to your programming department about this. And I think this is going to be a thing that you're going to notice coming up a lot more right now.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So like I said, I'll talk to my programming team. I'll see if that's something that we can add as an enhancement. Just right now, it's not a feature, but I'll definitely inquire and see if it's something that we can add in. Okay.
Okay.
Great idea.
All right, so guys, moving on here, I'm going to go into our designer. So I'm going to select our main floor plan. I'm going to select designer. By selecting designer, I'll just say I have pending changes because I took off the table button, so I'm just going to say yes. So inside of our designer, this is where we can actually make changes to the layout of our tables. To make changes to them, we can select them so they're highlighted in blue, and then we can tap and drag them wherever we want them to be. We can adjust the sizing of the table. So if I take table 1, for example, here, I have these selected table options on the left-hand side. So I can change the name of the table to whatever I want. I can change it from an ellipse to a rectangle and back to an ellipse. I can change the seats on this table by hitting change seats. I can add multiple seats. Now, the seat that is circled in blue is going to be seat 1. So if I change that over to here and I hit OK, that means now seat 1 is the one in the top left, and it's going to go in a clockwise direction from there. Okay? Now I can also change the size of this table. So if I change the size of it, I can change it from 1 to a little bit of a bigger size, maybe even a bigger size. We can adjust the sizing as we need to. I believe these are 4, yeah. So these are a size 4, your 100 and 101. Now we can also change our square tables as well, so our rectangular tables, sorry. So if we want to change the seats on here, you'll notice it's slightly different. There's more options all around. So if we want to add a seat to the bottom, we would add a seat to the bottom. If we want to add a seat to the left, we would use the left button to add a seat to the left. Okay?
Is this done on the fly? Like, do you do this, like, let's say we had a seat that's like 5 people and we brought a chair in. Like, do you have to go in here and do all of that?
Oh, no, absolutely not. This is just for your viewing pleasure, just to make it a little bit easier. If you're going to have more people seated there just for one sitting, like, you don't have to change the floor plan for that. That's just going to be a temporary thing. This is just to change it for a more permanent measure.
Okay.
Okay? So we can adjust the size of the rectangular ones as well by width and by height, not just by diameter. So if I change this one by width, I can change it to a width of 2 units, which makes it a little bit more square. And then I can change it to a height of 4 units, which makes it a little bit taller. I can also rotate tables. So if I pull this out into the middle here, I can rotate this with our rotation degrees down at the bottom. So let's say I want to rotate this by 45 degrees. It'll throw it on a slight angle for us. So we have a few options for making changes to the tables. Now, if I want to remove a table from the floor plan, I wouldn't actually hit this nice remove button over here. I would just select the table and hit the delete button on my keyboard. When I hit delete, that table is now removed from the floor plan, but it's not a deleting of the table because we do hold records on the table. As we place orders on them, there is going to be record of it, so we need to make sure that we're not actually deleting a table from the list. We're just removing it from the floor plan. Okay? So we will not be using this remove button.
Okay, nice.
Now, if I want to add a new table in, I will hit the new button over here, and when I hit new, it's going to bring me to a unassigned table section with the title New Table. This allows me to make changes to my table. Okay, so I can give it a name. I want to keep it as a rectangle, and I want to change the seat. We're going to make it a 2-seater here, and it's going to be a longer 2-seater. So when I take this table, I take it from my list, and I tap and I drag it out. That is my table now. Now I can make it a little bit wider too, if I want to make it a little bit nicer. And I can even add a rotation to it.
Okay, so I have a question because we didn't put this in here. Where the tables are right now, the way this is designed is those tables flip down and go into the wall, and then there's a big wall, like the whole length of the back there. That's a shelf, like a mini bar. It's 8 inches. It goes from one end to the other.
Okay.
So that's for like bottle service or stand-up drinking, that kind of stuff. So how would you put that in here?
So what do you mean it's for like bottle service or
like if it's late at night and people don't have a table, the table will flip down and people can just put their drinks on the side railing.
Oh, on these tables down here?
No, like there's like those tables would be gone. They fold into the wall, so they go flush pretty much with the wall. But above the there's a ledge that goes. It's just over 8-inch ledge that goes all the way across. That is a stand-up ledge, like a bar ledge.
Okay, well for that, I would say we use our bar tabs. That way, we're not actually seating people. We're just using a bar tab, and then inside of the bar tab, we can dictate where that person is standing.
Because those seats would still be there. Those chairs, the chairs would still be there. You would just be putting them along the bar of the back bar. You see what I mean?
Yeah. So the tables stay or don't stay.
Think of it as the tables can come or go. They're designed to flip down or stay up. but the chairs would
Okay.
stay, which means you would have seating or like seating it on the bar, like on the ledge.
Okay. So if we leave it the way it is, then that's okay. If those tables can sometimes be there, we might as well just leave them there. That
Mhm.
way, if they are needed, they're there, and if they're not, then we don't use them.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. I'm just thinking of like when you're doing the like at the bar, you have seats there that are numbered. Would we number seats when the tables are down? Would we number seats across there too?
Like where these ones are right now?
I see what you mean. Like you mean along the back ledge, so behind where table, I believe it's 103, 102 to 107 there. That's the long, skinny,
Yeah?
black rectangle. That could have technically numbers on it as well,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
and we can make that.
Because you have the space. You have the space. Like you see where the first table number 3 and the second table number 1. Those two chairs would be against the back. Do you see what I mean? So I guess you could use the same numbering.
Yeah, you would just use credit card numbers, Jamie. Like you would just put it under the bar page that we were originally looking at that doesn't have the tables, and you would have credit card names for each table.
Yeah.
So you would do that, like let's say it was Canada Day. During the daytime, people are just eating food. You don't ask for credit card when people are just getting food.
Yeah, Canada Day, you ask for a credit card from everyone. What are you doing?
Okay, so like just a regular busy, let's say it's a regular day and people are just eating. I'm not talking about late night and it's busy and you don't have the tables up. People just want to sit against the back. You don't do it that way?
We can add that in later if we feel like we're running into that problem.
Yeah, I'm just asking how you would add it in.
Absolutely. And that again could be completely up to you. You could add in a table that looks like the bar stools here.
Yeah, that's what it
if
would
you
be.
like. Or you could add in a full table like this. So like let's say we wanted tables down here, we could make another table just like table 7 here, and we could just plop it in just like that.
Yeah, that's how it would
And
be.
now that could be our seat down there. Just make sure that we're not duplicating numbers. So if we have a table 7 here, number then like 77 or.
Mm-hmm. And that's okay. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I just wanted to know how you would do it because those tables will not always be up, right?
Right, and like I said, you can put them in there if you need them, and if you aren't using them, then they're just going to kind of sit there dormant. They're not or anything.
Yeah, it's just because from what I know, people argue, like staff sometimes argue about their sections, right? So by having them there, then you would say, okay, this is your section. You're looking after the back here. You're looking at this is your section. This is another person's section. But okay.
Okay. Yeah, so I understand. So, like I said, you can add them in there if you want, or we can leave them off if you want. But I can leave that up to you guys to decide down the road. If that's something that you feel you need, then you are more than able to add that in there. Okay? Do we feel comfortable adding in tables?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm just going to cancel out of this then so that my awesome table changes are not going to save. So I'm just going to cancel that. And I'm just going to cancel it up here as well just to make sure I don't save any of the changes that I just made there. So the next thing that I'm going to jump into here is our clients and gift cards. Because we did say we are going to use the loyalty program, just to take a look at the clients and gift cards section. If I'm to... Okay, so I'm going to take a look at myself here, the customer that I made. So this is laid out very similar to the way that employees is laid out with the list of clients on the left side and the information on the right. So if I select my name here, all of these options should look familiar. This is the same kind of options that showed up in the other screen that we were looking at when we created the client from the home screen. This is just where it saves it to. Now, if I go into the miscellaneous here, we can set a credit limit. So as we were discussing, if we are going to close checks to certain clients, like to their card or to their account, sorry, we would need to set a credit limit. Now, this credit limit would be like, you're allowed to close up to $100 on your account. After that, we can't close onto your account anymore. That's it. You need to pay us back before we can close any more checks to your account. Okay?
That's good.
Now, there was also the question about what do we do about discounts. So let's say a VIP customer comes in and they always get a certain discount. We can set that right here under the miscellaneous tab. We can set a specific discount for this person. So if I do staff 25%, this means anytime I have a bill that's that's been assigned to my client name, I will get 25% off of that bill.
That's very cool.
Okay? Now,
I never knew you could do that one.
it's pretty cool, right? Like it's a neat little feature.
I know, that's so cool. Because often they'll say, like, oh, well, can you get Scott, like, he knows to put my discount on my bill. This way, like, it's already automated. William or whoever, you can put in an approved client list and what their discounts are, and it's already preset. They show up. It just, man,
it's so much easier. Like when I go to Tomo, whenever I order something from Tomo, if I'm with my mom, it just even just during the daytime, I go in, they put my name. It says my name on the bill, and it says staff discount 25%.
And you know what? That other way might be a barrier to entry because you might be worried, should I go to Tomo for lunch with my mom?
You're right.
What if a manager's not there?
Yeah.
Am I going to get my discount or not?
Yeah, and you know what? It's exactly that. Like, it's awesome. Like, I didn't even know the new people that were working there. I didn't even know them. And the kitchen guy in the back's like, hey, that's Jamie, by the way. That's all. And then they just put my name in, and it automatically gave me a discount. The lady's like, oh, you're getting a discount.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how it happens, just like this. So it is a very useful feature. So if we are using the client list, I would highly suggest using this for your VIP clients.
That's cool.
Okay, so the next tab here is a membership tab. This is for our corporate menu, so this is not really something we're going to be using in our day-to-day operations here. The last one is our preferences tab. So remember how I was trying to show you that we can add certain preferences per person? We can add that in here. If we add in a preference, we can just type in a specific item name. So I'll say steak. Okay? So my field one is steak. Oops, I didn't add that in. Field one is steak. Okay. And then I drop down to my steak. So now I know my first preference, I prefer steak as my preferred meal. Or if I have a special instruction, I prefer no salt or no pepper. We can add those in here just so that we have specific preferences. However, in my opinion, using the kitchen notes is just a lot easier to just type in whatever you want on there as opposed to going through the preferences. Essentially, it's the same thing, but the kitchen notes will show up on the chip when it gets sent into the kitchen. So I would suggest use kitchen notes if you're going to add anything to a certain client. Okay? Perfect. Okay, so that was our client. So every time we are done working with our client setup in here, we would just have to hit save first for it to populate and sync, and then we can close. Okay? So we've touched on employees, system settings, floor plans, clients, and gift cards. I'm going to go through this row here now I'll start off with our payment methods. Inside of our payment methods, there's really not a lot that we need to change. All of these are set up by default, unless we have an additional payment method that we would like to add, such as like an offline payment method. So if we have like a specific kind of gift certificate that we give out, like a $10 gift certificate, we can add that into here. And I'll show you how to add that in right now. So if I hit new, what I'll be selecting is other or custom, because this is going to be an offline payment method.
Well, this actually works well because we actually we can use this right now. You can put B2B app, right? Because our app has an internal wallet where you get internal credit and that you can use as in-house gift certificate.
Okay. So what do you want me to call that, sir?
Well, we can rename it later, but it's our Back to Brooklyn B2B app. It's our app.
Perfect. So you can rename that absolutely later. So I'll name it B2B app, and the alias is what it's going to show up as in reporting. So this is very important that we change this to a meaningful name, because if we don't, it's just going to show up as pay, and we're going to have no idea what it is. So match these as best you can. Now we have the option to say any overpayment is tip. Would we want to have that for this payment method? Do we want overpayment to be included as a tip, or do we want to not be?
No, they have to tip. They have to tip. They can't use credit for tip.
They can't use this for tip?
No, credit should. I don't think so. Do you guys? What do you think? So, Gina and Scott, I think that.
Why not? Why not?
You think that they should be able to use credit for tip?
Why wouldn't you?
I don't know. I guess I just thought that generally speaking, when you get a gift card or something and you tip, you tip on top. No.
In most cases, you can use for any purchase, any kind of remuneration at any location.
Okay, sure. So yeah.
All right. So over is going to be tip here. Now, do we want this to trigger the cash drawer? So when this is used, do we want to trigger the cash drawer? Do we need to put something in there?
No.
Perfect. So we're not going to select that.
There's other things that need to be done. Yeah.
So manager required?
It's how we integrate to your system. That's the thing. Because in our back end,
yeah. Do we need a manager required to use this payment method?
No, you don't need a manager. No.
I would. The reason why is this is what I've seen is people, I've seen every step in the book now, but they'll apply a gift card in lieu of payment and then in lieu of cash. And I've seen staff like steal gift cards or make their own gift cards or stuff like that before. So
sure. Even
with this system, they have to be monitored. I think it's just a precautionary protocol. Why wouldn't you just have the manager just okay it?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's very
rare. It might just slow down the process if the manager's not
well to be
there right then and there.
I'm just thinking like this.
At our place, the amount of gift cards you're going to get in is probably 1 or 2 a week. I think it's better to have manager oversight.
Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes when I start gift cards in cash outs, there's always a red flag for me. I double check every time I see a gift card come in from a staff member. That's always for me a double check.
Okay. So the way our app works is actually it makes a gift card. Like it's a bit different. So like you'll have in-house credit. You say you can say I want to use this as a gift card. It will generate a gift card for that amount, and then you just use the gift card. So it wouldn't really be like what we're using, I think, here. It would just make a gift card for their in-house credit, and then they use that in-house credit. That's how simple our app works. And in the back end, we'll remove the existing credit from their internal wallet, the wallet that it gives them.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be this area. It would just be making a gift card. Okay. So we wouldn't need this.
Approval or manager approval?
Sure, manager approval. Yeah, but we wouldn't use this.
The charge tip rate here. This is how we can set a percentage that gets charged. So I've seen this more so used for credit cards. So we can take back a percentage of the tips earned on a certain payment method.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so if that's something that we want to set up, this option is available on all of the.
I think that's important because sometimes a credit card is like 4%, like 3%. Like, what is your rates?
I'm sorry?
What are your rates that we're going with you guys?
I don't have the rates on hand. That would be something that would be included in the package that Joel sent over.
Okay.
Yeah, it's low. It's less than 2, actually.
Okay.
Okay, but the charge tip rate is an option that you have. So if you did ever want to go through the payment methods and add that in there, this is where you would do it.
Okay.
Now the last option here is the default amount and fixed amount. So is this back to your Brooklyn app going to be a fixed amount, or this is going to be variable based on each customer, right?
It's variable.
Okay, perfect. If it was a fixed amount, we would set our dollar amount here and then check off fixed amount. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's pretty much it for payment methods. Are we feeling comfortable with that?
I am. I'm good.
Okay. Perfect. So I'm just going to hit OK here. The next one I'm going to jump into is discount reasons. So inside of here, again, it's a very similar layout. We have our list on the left and our options on the right. If we need to create a new discount, we would hit New in the bottom left, and we would give it a name. So we can call this Staff 50%, for example. And I'm going to set this as a percent off. So this type is going to be percent off. I also have the option to set it as a value off, which would be a dollar amount. I'm still going to leave this as a percentage, though, just for demonstration purposes. Now, I'm going to change the amount here to 50%, so it matches my name that I typed out. And down here, I'm going to make sure visible and active are both checked off. And then I have our role to authorize. So remember when I was letting you guys know that we can actually set servers to be able to authorize specific discounts and not on other discounts? This is where we would do that. So let's say, for example, this 50% off cannot be authorized by servers. We would need at least a supervisor permission to authorize this discount. And to modify this discount inside of this menu, you would need to be at least a manager. So by setting these, now, even though our servers can authorize discounts, they will not be able to authorize this one because they are lower than a supervisor. Okay? If we ever did need them to be able to authorize a specific discount, we would just set the role to authorize to server. And then they would now be able to authorize that discount with their own. Okay? So I'll leave that one on supervisor for now. Allow negative, I would typically always leave that off. What that means is we're never going to drop below zero. So if this is a dollar amount off, we'll say it's $50, and our bill is $48. This means if this allow negative is checked off, we will then owe the customer $2, which I'm sure we don't want to do. So we'll leave that unchecked so that it just zeroes it out and it doesn't actually turn it into a negative amount that we owe back to the customer.
Okay, just a quick question. Does this do profit loss by any chance? Like when you have a meal, can you put like your cost to make that meal, and then with all your discounts in place and everything, does it give you a report at the end of the month what your PL statements are?
Absolutely. So if you put in the price or the cost for each item, so let's say, now we can't do specific pieces of that meal, but we can just put in, like let's say for the steak, there's different components involved in creating that steak. But if we put a total cost for how much it costs to make one steak meal, you can do a cost analysis based on how much it costs, how much revenue you made from that, was it ever discounted, total profit is something that we can report on for sure.
So what about when the kitchen goes in and removes the steak because it went bad? Would it also adjust with that as well, saying that in loss this is what you had in like bad food or whatever?
No, so it would not adjust for that because, like I said, remember, that's just a countdown. It's more of a notification than an actual inventory management system.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, additional to all of these options here, on the right-hand side, we have our major classes, minor classes, and menu items. This is where we can specify what a discount can actually affect. So let's say this staff 50% does not work on alcoholic beverages. It only works on food. What we can do is we can add a major class, and I'm going to add in food. What this does is this allows us to only apply this discount to food items, and it will not work if tried to apply to a alcoholic beverage.
Okay.
Okay, so we can even narrow that down further. Let's say we wanted a specific minor class, so this is only available for coffee. So if this is not a coffee item, this discount will not work.
Okay.
And if we want to remove one of those selections, we can just hit remove.
Okay.
All right. Are we feeling okay with this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one I'm going to go into is void reasons. Very similar. Again, we have the list on the left and then the options on the right-hand side here. I'm not going to go through with creating a new void reason because it is so similar to the other ones. I'm just going to quickly explain it here. We would give it a name, and we would then choose whether it's going to be authorized by a server, supervisor, manager, so on and so forth. Now, right now, the server role does not have the permission to authorize a void. They only have permission to authorize discounts if they are set to the authorization level on that discount. Even if we set this to a server right now, they would not be able to authorize this because their role does not allow them to authorize any void. Okay? The role to modify, I would leave it as manager. If we do not, only the person who is going to be set as the owner would be able to have access to make changes to this item. So I would always ensure that we're setting this to manager. Okay? Alright, so I'm going to hit OK here. Assign user reasons is going to be used again for our corporate menu module, so this is not something that we're going to be discussing today. Pay in and pay out reasons. Is that something that we can see us doing, is paying in and out of the cash drawer?
Yes, for DJ or something like that, security, we definitely use pay in, pay outs, also for like grocery pickup or something.
Perfect. So with pay in and pay out, we have a couple options here. We have a pay in and pay out option right now, literally just called pay in and pay out. What you could do is you could add in specific options. So like, let's say, for example, we wanted to do DJ for a pay in. I typically like to choose both options, pay in and pay out. So if we were receiving money for whatever reason under the DJ reasoning, we could use pay in, or we could choose pay out for the DJ reasoning, which would be paying out the DJ. So if I choose this option to have the option of both, I'll say OK. And now I just get to name it. So I'm going to name it DJ. And essentially what this does is gives us the option to now use this as a reasoning to pay out. And I'll show you how to use this as soon as we're done with the manager. So we'll set this to a server do we want this to just be managers that can pay out from the cash drawer?
Pardon me? What did you say about the manager and the cash drawer?
Yeah, do we own just the manager?
Yeah.
Pay out from the cash drawer?
I would allow bartenders as well.
Bartenders as well?
I would.
Why?
Okay. So if we set this to bartender, a bartender's role level access is higher than a server. So this would still allow anybody above a bartender or above to be able to approve this. So
bartenders generally have more access than a server?
Oh, yeah.
Typically, yeah.
Okay.
So an example of this would be, let's say, for example, they ran out of fruit, and so they need lemons and limes or whatever for their night. So the bartender would send the busboy up to the Metro. They go pick it up. They come back with an $86 receipt from the Metro. The bartender just does a payout for $86, and they reimburse the busboy who used his credit card for it.
Yeah.
And then the receipt goes in the till.
Okay, I get it.
Perfect, exactly.
Now, we think the manager should be involved in that process?
I mean, the manager, when they do the cash out, they see the payout for $86, 86 registered to grocery. The payout slip should be stapled to the payout slip, should be signed by the server bartender, and that's how they know the action's done completely. Then they submit that payout to accounting. Accounting takes it from there.
Okay.
Okay, absolutely. So to show this in actuality here, I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to close out of manager options, and if we go into staff options, and I'll go in with my manager code, we have our pay in and pay out function in the bottom left here. If I select that, first thing I do is choose my direction, so whether it's pay in or pay out. So let's say, for our example here, we'll just be paying out the DJ. I pay out, and my reasoning is going to be one of the options that I just created, so you can see my DJ option is now available. So if I select DJ, I hit OK. And I will not be selecting an employee here because it's not going to an employee. I'm just paying out for the DJ. Okay? Now, even in your grocery example, I don't know if I would add the employee in here either because that's going to affect their next cash owing. So I would not add the employee into here because we're doing that through a cash payment. Okay?
Yep.
and then we'll add in the amount. So the amount could be, we'll say it was like $300. $300, perfect. And you can add any notes. It was great. Perfect. And then when I post this transaction, this is going to actually become part of our report. Okay, so our end of day report is going to have that pay in and payout reasoning there.
And is there a way to put a ceiling on it? I think that might kind of be the best for everybody. Like, let's say, for example, the ceiling is miscellaneous $50. So if they're picking up light bulbs, you know, as an example, then they don't need to get manager approval. But if it's anything over $50, larger payouts, are they able to, you know, put a manager permission on that?
Unfortunately, I cannot set limits on that.
Okay.
The only options I have are what you see right here.
Okay. Just curious.
Okay. So, well, if someone's going to take money, they're just going to take it. They don't need to be a manager anyways, right? So this is just keeping track of it.
That's right, Jamie.
Yeah.
So the question I have is, how much does, well, I guess that wouldn't be a question to this, but can you set a fixed amount for a payout? So a DJ can't just turn to the guy and say, give me $100 and then we'll split half of it. You know what I mean?
So I also cannot set static amounts. Again, the only options I have are what's right here.
Okay. So then it would have to be an internal policy that says these are the things you can do. They would sign off on it, and then we'd be able to track who's doing it.
I mean, yeah, I've never seen it happen, like, even before. Like, I've had managers, I've seen it at $350 payout for DJ when it's supposed to be $250, and I've always messaged the manager and been like, well, why was it $350 yesterday or on Saturday? Because I don't do the cash out stuff the night of at 3, 4 a.m. I do them on Monday morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say, like, I'll address it with management at that time, like, how come that payout was this or that? And they'll have a reason for it usually, like, oh, we didn't, you know, we'd only paid them last time, or it was an extra hour, it was like a spring forward callback, we paid them for an extra hour, so stuff like that.
Yeah, so I guess I'm just kind of thinking more on the lines of, let's say it was the same way. You're a DJ, you charge $100, but you were late for 5 minutes, and I don't know you were late for 5 minutes, but I'm the manager, and I'm like, look, you were late, I'm going to dock you $20. And then he says, okay, no problem, I'm good for that. You owe him $100. He puts in in and out at 100. It looks like you paid him 100. You don't think anything of it because you're supposed to be paying 100, but then the manager took 20.
And pockets it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's an internal process, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
At
that's
that
not
point,
a lot of work to make $20.
Like I used to.
$20, yeah.
No, it's just that, okay, like I'll give you an example. I used to work at Venture Electronics. I don't know how old we are here, but that was old, long time ago, before Best Buy came out. And what used to happen...
Is that Blockbuster era?
That's Blockbuster era, yeah.
I heard of that.
Yeah, so Venture Electronics, and I was like one of the top sales in the region. But anyways, the point is that some of the sales guys, I was wondering how come they're getting such good sales when they were competing, and then they were doing these things called price match, right? But what they were doing is they were also stealing from the company, but the manager never knew. And I ended up catching it across like the whole province. Like lots of people were doing this. And the way they were doing it is that they were doing a similar thing, is that they were negotiating with the customer, putting it down as a match price. Meanwhile, it wasn't a match price, making it look like there was, and then taking the difference in the money on cash deals.
But you know what? Back then, cash was king. People paid cash. Now, nobody pays cash. And cash is so like obsolete.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay, so we have a couple options here just in terms of reporting on it, but there is going to be some things that need to be focused on in an internal aspect. But in terms of what we can do here is we can report on amounts, and if we're keeping track of it properly from a user standpoint, this would be very helpful to keep track of all of that, okay? But there is some internal procedures that I'm sure that need to be sorted, but I'll leave that up to you guys, okay?
Okay.
So the next thing I'm going to jump into here is gratuities. Gratuities is the same thing. Gratuities have our options on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side we get to dictate whether it's going to, what name it's going to have, and then whether it's going to be a percentage or a value. Now, a gratuity is just going to be one of those, it's just going to be applied to the bottom of the bill. It's not going to be something that the the customer will get to select from. Typically, this is used for larger parties. Do we have an automatic gratuity that we want to apply for large parties? And if so, do we have a party count that we would like to apply this gratuity to?
I don't think.
What is
We
that?
don't
That's
have any super big tables. Like the only one
Okay.
we could really apply to the top two. Like if we wanted to do like 18% for tables that are 6 or more people.
Yeah. Well, and as well, we can do this manually. Like I said, inside of the order, we can go to other options and apply the gratuity manually if we feel we need to. And that way we avoid the automation of it, and we don't have to worry about it accidentally being applied if you would rather.
Yeah. I think that's a good
Okay.
idea.
So we'll leave that then. But gratuities follow the same order as everything else. Whether it's a percentage or a gratuity or a service charge, and the amount that they would be charging. Okay, and then again, the role to authorize and role to modify. If we want servers to be able to authorize a gratuity, we would just change that down to server and ensure that inside of their roles, servers are able to authorize gratuities. Okay? So I'm going to okay out of gratuities here. Okay, so the next options that we're looking at, are we going to be tracking any employee breaks at all?
I don't think people are going to get enough breaks. They're not going to get breaks.
who needs break?
Typically, no, I agree. But if you wanted to, our break type can be depicted inside of here. Now, subtotals and security groups are, again, both for our corporate menu, so we will not be touching on that. And coupons, we did say that we aren't going to be venturing into at this time, as we're going to be using our own app. So the next thing I'm going to jump into is our clock in and clock out times. Clock in and clock out times is where we can actually adjust employees' time. So let's say, for example, this person did not, or test did not sign in at 10:18 a.m. They actually signed in at 11 a.m. and we need to adjust that. Well, if I click on them, it shows me what job they're working, the pay rate they're working, and how many hours they have worked, thus far at least, because there is no actual sign-out time yet. So if I modify this shift, I can change what time they started. So let's say they actually started at 11 a.m. I can say OK, and that adjusted their time over here. But you'll notice this time stays the same. This actual time is going to always show you what time they actually punched in, but this scheduled time is going to be the time that they actually get paid for. So they're only going to get paid the 3.68 hours, not the 4.36 hours. Okay? Now let's say this person signed in as a bartender, but they were actually supposed to be a server at this time. We can change the job that they were working by hitting change job, and we can select from our list, and we'll say server. I'll hit OK. And then I can adjust the pay rate for that shift. So let's say just for this shift, they were getting paid $18 an hour. I can say OK. And now that adjusted their shift, so now their pay rate is at $18 an hour. Their job is server, and they work 3.69 hours. Okay, so this is where we'll be able to adjust shifts, and we can do this. This automatically goes for the current date, but we can adjust this for previous dates as well, or any other days of the week. Okay? So if we ever need to adjust shifts, this is where we will go to do that. Okay? Again, that's inside of manager options, configuration, clock in, clock out time. Okay? Are we ready to take a look at the menu? Perfect. So,
Just 1 second.
when I type one,
Can you guys just give me 1 second?
Yeah.
Just 1 sec.